Hello everyone and welcome to my review for Berserk Volume 3. Before I get into this review, I of course have to mention my subscriber goal for 2021, hitting 5,000 by the end of the year. So if this is among the first videos of mine that you're watching and you like my content, or if you're already a fan of my videos and you're not subscribed, you might as well to help me reach that goal. The other thing is my Patreon. If you want to help support me and the channel directly or get access to some extra content, you can always become a patron. There's a link to my Patreon down in the description. With that out of the way, let's get on with the review. Quite a few of you guys have probably seen the poll I have up on my community tab. Doing these reviews volume by volume is like kinda neat because I can go more in depth about these specific events in each volume. However, it means I have to stop between each volume, take a break, record, and then read again, and then take a break and record, so on and so on. And that's a little monotonous, and also, I don't like having to stop reading in between each volume, especially because some of the volumes go by really fast. So I asked you guys if you would rather I keep doing the volume reviews, or if I should instead do arc reviews, and the vast majority of you said that I should just review entire arcs. However, there was someone in the comments suggesting that I do something a little in between, and I think that is what I'm going to do. I will probably do, part reviews. I know the Golden Age is, 10 volumes long or something. So I'll do, Golden Age review part 1 of 3. Because I'm fairly certain the Golden Age can be split up into 3 parts since it got 3 movies. So I'll do something like that for the arcs. And we won't have these individual volume reviews from here on out. This will be the last one. But I don't think that's bad, because these first 3 volumes are kind of their own thing for the most part. Or at least, it's not a gigantic fucking arc with a bunch of stuff going over it, so going volume by volume is kind of pointless. But Volume 3 is pretty interesting, because I feel like this is where we actually get to some of the emotional depth of Berserk. A lot of it is in regards to the Count and his daughter Theresia, but we also get some more insight into Guts' character, and I find all of that to be quite interesting. I think a big theme in this volume is desire and conviction, what you're willing to give up to get what you want. We see that with the Count and also in Guts. They seem to have a lot of parallels, I've noticed. I do think that the Count is kind of supposed to be like a warning for Guts about what could happen if he lets himself fall too far down the rabbit hole trying to get his revenge against Griffith. And we do actually finally see Griffith, or Femto, in this volume. I had seen sort of images of the God Hand in this fucking H.R. Geiger space, but I didn't know when it took place, so hey, that's one of the things that I didn't know about happening this early that, I was still kind of able to be a little surprised by when I got to it when reading this volume. So that was cool. And another thing that I didn't know was the real backstory for the Count. So in the previous volume, it was sort of alluded to that the Count had supposedly become an apostle to get revenge against the heretics who had killed his wife. However, it's revealed in this volume that his wife was actually among said heretics, and he had been going around trying to find them, he couldn't find them, and when he returned back to his castle, he found out, oh, all of the heretics are actually in my own house. They were having a big pagan cultist orgy, and his wife was fucking this big Baphomet statue, and as you do when you find such a scene, you go on a fucking murderous rampage. But when the moment came where the last person standing was his wife, he couldn't bring himself to kill her. And she apparently took great pleasure in the fact that she was able to pretty much betray him, because, cheating on your husband with a big Baphomet statue is bad. And get away with it, that he still couldn't bring himself to kill her because he cared about her too much. However, because, cultists, they had to bail it there, and the Count's great desire for revenge, but also his desire to not feel this kind of sorrow and despair anymore, summoned the God Hand, and the God Hand were like, "Yo, what do you want? We will turn you into an apostle who will never feel sadness and despair ever again. You just have to sacrifice the person you care most about." And it's interesting that the Count considered his wife to be someone that he both hated and loved more than anyone else. That's a very interesting thing. I recall a saying that I heard a long time ago, that there's no one in the world that you hate more than someone you used to love, because of the feeling of betrayal and things like that. Which is also true for Guts and Griffith. I know we're going to be finding out a lot about that later on. So Count actually killed his wife as part of a sacrifice to become an apostle. And as you can imagine, that is not a great thing to hear for his daughter. She kind of goes crazy by the end of this volume. But yeah, you see that basically the Count turned into a monster and ruined his own life out of his desire for revenge against his wife. So for Guts, maybe cool it a little bit with the revenge thing. You're gonna end up hurting yourself and hurting other people. Which we do see after the Count has been dragged off to hell, the God Hand is gone, they've been sent back to the real world. He saves Teresia, because she's about to fall through the floor, by, using his sword. She kind of grabs onto it, but it's a fucking sword, so she cuts her hands doing it. And we see that Guts feels bad about this. And after Teresia is like, "I fucking hate you, I'm gonna kill you," he's leaving, and finally, we see an expression of sadness on Guts' face. So we finally cracked through the surface layer of Guts being a compassionless, angry asshole. And we're now seeing that there's more there. There is a sadness beneath that anger, which I think is a very important component of that, because the Count was both very angry and very sad about his wife betraying him. So I'm quite excited to see where more of that goes. And with the end of this volume, we do get the start of the Golden Age arc. We get the first chapter of it, which is the start of Guts' childhood, his first 6 years of life. It's real fucked up. Born from a corpse, adopted by the mercenary band's prostitute. Apparently they're a collective prostitute. She dies when he's 3 years old of the plague. Then Guts is now being taken care of by Gambino, but Gambino is an asshole mercenary, so Guts is getting beat up all the time. Now, his relationship with Gambino is actually really interesting. It's a lot more nuanced than I thought it was. I don't know if that's the right word for it. There seems to be, to some extent, a level of caring for Guts on Gambino's part, where he gives him medicine for his face wound, he gives him some cut out of his pay, even though he still takes most of it, he still gives Guts some of the money that he'd earned from their victory. And then, Donovan happens. So it's I wonder to what extent Gambino actually cares about Guts. Because he still shows some level of caring for him, but at the same time, he's gonna whore him out. So, Gambino is a fucking terrible parent, first of all. But I'm wondering if Gambino actually cares about Guts as a person, or if he just cares about him as an object. Because the medicine thing was probably to make sure that he's still in good condition. Giving him a little bit of his money would probably be to ensure his loyalty. At the end of the day, I have a feeling that Gambino doesn't really care about Guts that much. Doesn't love Guts or anything, but maybe still values him to some extent, but maybe not as a person. So yeah, that was volume 3 of Berserk. Damn, I always forget to talk about the art a bit. The art's also really good in this volume. We get a lot of it. We get a lot of really good stuff with the other dimension, the God-Hander, and that's pretty cool. We see Miura drawing big battle scenes with the mercenary band, doing like sieges and stuff. That's pretty impressive. The count is actually really well done. It could have been like a mess. I like drawing a big blob monster can be really difficult, I think, sometimes. Because there's a fine line between just an incoherent mess and an actual sort of amorphous creature. And I think Miura actually manages to achieve the latter pretty well by still maintaining some kind of general shape and anatomy for it. And other than that, I mean, you know, still maintains the feeling of weight you get from Guts' sword. Still really cool watching him cut shit up. Yeah, overall, it's great stuff. So, once again, this is going to be the last of the individual volume reviews. From here on out, I'm going to be doing arc reviews, or part of arc reviews. It'll be kind of like when I split up my 1000-Year Blood War review into 3 parts, because it was a really fucking long. So it'll be something like that. But yeah, with that is all I have to say for this review. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future Berserk reviews. I cover a number of other series on my channel, so if you're interested in checking those out, you can always take a look at my playlist page. If you enjoy discussing Berserk with other people, or you want to talk to me personally about some of the other series on this channel, you can always check out my Discord server. I have a link to that down in the description. Since it's the end of the video, it's time to give a shout out to my wonderful patrons, and the recipients of the shout out today are Dijon Redden, Anthony Chavez, Honey Mustard, and Zach Rowitz. Thank you all very much for supporting me on Patreon. I greatly appreciate it. And if you too want to get a shout out at the end of videos or access to some extra content, you can always become a patron as well. There's a link to my Patreon down in the description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys around. Take care.